I cannot marry a monster. God forbid. Kofi's voice sliced through the rhythmic thumping of the traditional drums like a jagged, rusted blade. He hurled the ceremonial ivory cup to the dusty ground, the red palm wine splashing onto Nneka's pristine white lace like a fresh, gruesome wound. The village square of Omundu, which just moments ago was vibrating with the songs of the Ogini and the scent of roasted jollof rice, fell into a suffocating, terrifying silence. Nneka reached out, her fingers trembling with a plea she couldn't utter, her breath coming in ragged gasps behind the heavy fabric. But Kofi recoiled in pure, unadulterated horror, nearly tripping over his own feet. You deceived me. This is not the woman I courted. This is a curse from the pits of hell. He didn't look back. He simply bolted through the decorated bamboo gates, his expensive Italian suit jacket flapping behind him as he vanished into the evening mist. Nneka sank to her knees, her heavy 3-layered veil finally slipping to the floor. The guests shrieked. Some covered their mouths, others spat on the ground to ward off bad luck. Nneka's face was a nightmare of weeping blisters and blackened skin. But let me tell you how it all began. In the vibrant village of Omundu, Nneka was known as the Loom Queen. Her hands moved with a rhythmic grace that turned simple cotton threads into tapestries of gold, indigo, and earth. She was the eldest daughter of Mazi Okoro, a man whose pride was as large as his yam barn was empty. Since their mother passed, the weight of the household sat squarely on Nneka's young shoulders. Every morning, before the sun kissed the palm fronds, Nneka was at the stream. Every afternoon, she was at the market, her fingers stained with dye, selling her weaves to pay for the expensive herbal treatment required for her younger sister, Adaogo. Adaogo was beautiful, but she was fragile, suffering from a recurring lung ailment that made her chest rattle like dry seeds in a gourd. While other girls spent their coins on coral beads, fancy hair extensions, and sweetmeats, Nneka's coins always went to the apothecary. Sister, you work too hard. One day a prince will come and take you away from this dust. That prince arrived in the form of Kofi, a wealthy timber merchant from the city. He drove a black Mercedes that kicked up more dust than a Harmattan windstorm. Kofi was a man who appreciated fine things. He saw Nneka at the market and was ensnared by her long limbs and her cocoon shell of grace. Mazi Okoro beamed. This union would finally lift them from the trenches of poverty. My daughter, he told Nneka, this is our salvation. Do not let it slip through your fingers. Nneka felt a glimmer of hope. Maybe she could finally stop worrying about the next meal. Maybe Adaogo could see a real doctor in the city. But as the wedding day drew near, the atmosphere in the small compound shifted. Adaogo, once grateful, became morose. She watched Nneka packing her few belongings into a new suitcase Kofi had bought. A bitter, toxic jealousy began to curdle in Adaogo's heart. If Nneka leaves, who will serve me? Who will care if I breathe or die? She will be eating cake in the city while I rot in this hut. The jealousy was fed by the village gossip Chichi, who whispered to Adaogo at the stream, your sister is lucky, oh. Once she leaves, you will just be the sick girl left behind. Kofi won't want a sick sister-in-law ruining his fine house. Driven by a desperate, panicked selfishness, Adaogo decided that if she couldn't have a bright future, Nneka wouldn't either. On the night of the Igbanku Nook, while the village slept, Adaogo crept into the kitchen. She had prepared a beauty mask, a thick, grey paste she told Nneka was made from rare forest roots that would make her skin glow like a polished mirror for the ceremony. In reality, Adaogo had mixed in caustic lye used for soap and the sap of the agba tree, known to cause terrible blistering. Put it on, sister, Adaogo whispered with a fake smile. Sleep with it. Tomorrow you will be the most beautiful bride Omundu has ever seen. Nneka, trusting her sister completely, applied the thick paste and fell into a deep, exhausted sleep. By 4 a.m., Nneka woke up screaming. Her face felt like it was submerged in boiling oil. When their mother's sister, Auntie Fioma, saw her, she shrieked. Nneka's skin was a map of angry, weeping sores. Her eyelids were swollen shut. "The wedding is in 6 hours," Maziokoro cried, pacing the room. "The bride price has been paid, and half of it is already spent on your sister's medicine and the feast. If this wedding fails, we are ruined." In a moment of panicked desperation, Auntie Fioma used a heavy experimental lead-based grease, a stage makeup used by traveling performers, to plaster over the wounds. It was thick and suffocating. She then draped 3 layers of heavy lace over Nneka's head. "Do not lift this veil for any reason," Ifeoma warned. "The cool evening air will help the swelling go down before the private night." The ceremony was grand, but Nneka was in agony. Under the heavy fabric and the hot afternoon sun, the lead makeup began to react with the lye burned and the open sores. It was a chemical fire on her skin. She stumbled through the rites, her breath hitching. Finally, the moment came, the unveiling of the bride. Kofi stepped forward, his chest puffed out with pride. He wanted to show off his prize to his business associates from the city. He grabbed the edge of the lace and pulled it back with a flourish. The gasps were like a physical blow. The makeup had partially melted and mixed with the fluid from the blisters, creating a grey, oozing mask that looked like rotting flesh. Nneka's eyes were bloodshot and surrounded by blackened, peeling skin. She looked like a character from a horror story. Kofi's pride turned to instant, visceral disgust. He didn't ask, "Are you okay?" or "What happened?" He only thought of his reputation. "A monster!" he yelled, and that was when he threw the wine and fled, leaving Nneka broken on the ground. The aftermath was a whirlwind of shame. Maziokoro hid in his room for weeks, but the truth has a way of rising like palm oil on water. Adalgo, seeing Nneka lying in a dark room, refusing to eat, and hearing the village children calling their house the house of the ghost, finally broke. The guilt of seeing her sister's face, not just scarred, but destroyed by her own hand, was too much. She confessed to the elders while weeping on her knees. The village was stunned. The sick, innocent sister was the villain. Adalgo was banished to her uncle's far-off farm to work the land as penance. Nneka didn't die of shame, though the scars remained deep. She realized that Kofi's love was as thin as the veil he had torn away. With the help of Auntie Fioma, she used the remaining wedding funds to buy more looms. She started a collective for the unwanted, widows, scarred women, and orphans. Her scarves of gold fabrics became famous across the state, not for the beauty of the weaver, but for the strength of the weave. She learned that a man who flees at the sight of your pain is a man who was never invited to your future. If you enjoyed this story, please don't forget to subscribe to African Folktale with Buchi, like this video, and share it with your friends and family. Comment down below and tell us what you think. Where are you watching from? We really would love to know. Also, do you think Nneka was too kind in not punishing Adalgo more severely? Until next time, stay blessed, and remember, beauty is skin deep, but character is etched in the soul. Goodbye.